what happens next, Huw, in terms of how we approach this, how the banking sector approaches as well? Because it's had a drubbing, as you say, nowhere near the kind of levels we've seen in previous crises. But as we saw, and I won't go back as far as Edward III, but as we saw in 1929 onwards as well, the damage can last a very, very long time until policies are changed, and even then thereafter.
So, look, at this point, I think there's two answers to this. That for the banks themselves, they simply don't know and just have to run a wide range of scenarios. And so what I'm seeing is conversations around sort of three areas. The rates shock. So what does this mean for the steepness of the yield curve and the front end? And in particular, European banks make a lot of money at the front end. This had been the best 2-year period for banks, relative or absolute, since 2002, 2004. So there's that kind of like, where does the yield curve go next? I think the second is the work they're doing around their credit books. You know, where are the weak credits? Where are things which could topple over if these tariffs do persist and supply chains get really interfered with? And then thirdly is then thinking about like dealing where next, and really about growth. Obviously, some of these banks had been hoping that corporate loan growth may even, go up from 1.7% last year to maybe 2 to 3% on the back of rearming and defence and spending in Europe. I think they're now thinking this is a very big demand shock, and it's probably going to go back below 1%. So I think that's the kind of, I don't think anyone's making a big, brave call amongst the banks. I think amongst the asset owners, and I think this is the question, Steve, that I'm really interested in, is will people start to redeem or repatriate some of their capital from the States, not just because of tariffs, but also maybe because the Mag 7 trade, tech trade, is no longer there. And certainly I'm starting to pick up some of the large investors starting to think about, what will they do next.